Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz at ClassicsToday.com, here with the 5 greatest Ravel pianists. Oh my, this is going to be fun because we just had a Ravel year and everybody was doing Ravel piano music. And so for this particular talk, I decided to focus on sort of pianists whose Ravel has withstood the test of time, not the newcomers, although there were some really worthy entries, particularly François-Xavier Poisat's complete Ravel piano music and music with piano, which gave us all the solo music, chamber music, orchestral music, anything with a piano. Really, really fabulous. That was sort of the highlight, I think, of the Ravel year. But these are people whose performances continually amaze. And so they actually have earned the sobriquet greatest, really greatest. Let's start with the obvious. Martha Argerich. I think she's pretty obvious, usually at most things. She didn't do everything Ravel wrote, of course. I mean, she did the Sonatine and Gaspard de la Nuit. That's the real important thing. You got to do Gaspard. If you haven't done Gaspard, you haven't done Ravel, right? And oh, is that amazing? That's absolutely fabulous. I think she is really astonishing. And I wish that I wish she'd done more. Of course, we wish she'd done more of everything, especially when she was really in her prime. That would have been just marvelous. But as it stands, we've got some pretty spectacular Ravel from Martha Argerich. Now, there are other people who've done great Gaspards. I mean, Ivo Pogorelich is like the most obvious, but he didn't do enough of anything else, I don't think. Yeah. Anyway, Martha Argerich, definitely. If you like Ivo, you can stuff him on your list. Next, Robert Casadesus. Well, a lot of you chose him for Debussy, and I really love his Debussy as well, but I prefer him as a Ravel guy, and there are a couple of pianists where that happened. I think his Ravel has a certain, well, the French word is éclat, right? It has an éclat. There's a brilliance and crispness to it that I think is really, really special. And it's wonderful to go back and listen to him because he doesn't get a lot of attention these days in the pantheon of the great 20th century pianists, but he certainly was one, if only for his Mozart with George Sell and things like that. But he really was a splendid, splendid pianist. He did a great Emperor Concerto, and his Ravel is absolutely glorious, marvelous. And after Casadesus, well, now things get a little more complicated because there's so many really fine complete cycles. But I chose Jean-Yves Thibaudet. I like Thibaudet particularly for his Le Tombeau de Couperin, which he really treats as a Baroque dance suite with crisp, almost harpsichord-like articulation. There's something really special about the way he plays that work. And he does all the other stuff marvelously, too. He really does. He's first class. And he did the concertos with Dutoit, or did he? Or did someone do the concertos with Dutoit? I don't know. Anyway, he did a lot of Ravel. The complete piano works for solo piano anyway. And oh boy, are they special. They're absolutely beautiful. And he doesn't get a lot of attention either. He's sort of a hard pianist to pigeonhole. He doesn't seem to have a specialty anywhere. He did that fabulous set of complete Satie, which is also just marvelous. But I think his Ravel is pretty great. It's on Decca, and it's good to be able to talk about him a bit because he deserves the credit. He's always been a really, really sensitive and soulful artist, I think, who deserves some love from everybody. Okay, after Thibaudet, Samson François. A lot of you chose him for Debussy, again, but I choose him for Ravel. First of all, he has like the best ever piano concertos with Cuitins. They're just amazing, absolutely amazing. And second of all, he was a Gaspard specialist, sort of at least a Scarbo specialist, let's put it that way, because he was, in a way, he was sort of a malevolent imp himself. In a totally positive way. I mean, in a good way. He had that sense of diablerie, which the music just demands. He could be technically off and on, depending on, how much, how many controlled substances he'd imbibed before the recording sessions. But boy, is he a good Ravel guy. He really is. So I think that that's where he would come in my list. Of course, like I said, you will have your own, and you can put in whoever you want. And last but not least, Abbey Simon, the reference recording for Ravel piano works. Believe it or not, Abbey Simon was such a good pianist. I mean, such a sincere, musical, intelligent artist. And he did his Ravel cycle for Vox. And I only met him once when he came to HMV to do a signing at one point. And, he was there and his students were there, but no one else. It was sad, actually, because nobody was showing up. There was a big stack of Ravel things and other things. He'd done Rachmaninoff. And nobody paid him much mind or much attention. And he really deserved it. I mean, it would have been nice. People should have lined up to get his autograph on these discs. They were inexpensive and they were fabulous. There are no weak links in his Ravel cycle. The Sonatine is gorgeous. The Tombeau de Couperin is beautifully proportioned and elegant. His Gaspard de la Nuit has everything it's supposed to have. It's sensual, it's creepy, it's spooky. Miroir, each piece is beautifully characterized. I mean, he just could do no wrong in that music. It's so sensitive and so smart and so beautifully played and beautifully recorded, too. He just deserves all the love that we can give him. Well, that's 5. That was easy. That was quick. I mean, because they just popped into my head. I didn't even have to really think that hard to come up with these 5. You will, of course, like I said, have your own, and I can think of, I don't know, 5 or 10 more who really deserve a lot of credit, have done fabulous work in Ravel, because he only wrote basically 2 discs worth of solo piano music. Lots of people do it. They do it because it's inexpensive and easy and convenient. And, it tends to fall into well-defined chunks. You've got Miroir, Tombeau, Gaspard, the Sonatine, and then a bunch of short things. And that's it. That's it. And so, it's not a chore to learn the entire repertoire, and it's so rewarding. It's just marvelously written, and so people do it. I'm looking forward very much to seeing your list because we are spoiled for choice, truly. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.